Hi friends, my name is Mackenzie, also known as Emtothethird, and this is the Emtothethird Knitting Podcast. Today, we're doing something kind of fun. So, about 6 months ago, I did a whip inventory and was frankly a little upset at how many whips I had. So at the end of that video, I found that I had 13 projects on the needles or hooks. And that was like a personal record for me. That's not usually how I operate. Like, I'm a pretty strong finisher, okay? We'll just say that. But yeah, I had 13 projects and I was a little like, okay, like that's good perspective. Like let's see where we're gonna go from here. So I thought I would do a 6-month update because I have finished some projects, which is really exciting. And of course I've knit stuff since then, and I've cast on new projects. So we're gonna do another little tally. But I thought I would start off with the projects that I have finished, none of which I actually have with me. So the first thing that I finished, you've heard me talk about it on the podcast, but they were a pair of socks for my coworker, Tim. So they turned out super great. He loves them. I have affectionately started calling them, she's a gnome, she's a track star, because they give me gnome track star vibes. So if you know, you know. So that was on my needles for a long time, and I'm so happy I finished them. He loves them, and now I have just like a little bit of the yarn left. He didn't want it back. And yeah, so that's one project that is off the needles. The second finished project that I have was a baby blanket that I was working on for a sample. Now, I promised like 6 months ago that this would be a pattern that I would be putting out, and I am still planning on it. Pattern writing just takes a lot longer than it seems like it will. So that is coming very soon. I've already started working on the videos, but I finished the sample. That was, I think, the first thing I finished after filming that video. We're really happy with how it turned out. It's very sweet. And yeah, expect to hear more about that pattern very soon. The next two things that I finished were samples for Starlight Knitting Society, which is my local yarn store where I also work part-time. So the first one was this very sweet pick and mix cardigan for my niece. I knit it in the 2-year size out of some really nice acrylic. I don't normally choose to knit with acrylic, but I knew that this yarn would be really nice to work with, and I was so pleasantly surprised by how nice it was. When I made this pattern, like when they announced that they were pregnant, I did it with a non-superwash wool yarn, and I ended up steeking it. I didn't want to steek this because it was made with acrylic, so I did do everything flat, so it took longer, it was a bigger size, etc., but I am really happy with how it turned out, and it has sold a good amount of yarn at the store. The next one is my most recent cast off. I just posted about this on Instagram, so if you follow me over there at Emtothethird, then you will have seen it. It is the Grouse Creek pullover. Perfect, like autumn vibes. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I think the fit is fabulous, and it will be living at the store for 6 months before I get it back. So we were using that to really showcase Andorra, which is a fiber company yarn that is like wool and mohair and just like really, really lovely to work with and to wear. So that was the main color, and then the contrast was just one skein of spin cycle. We really wanted to highlight a project that just used like one skein of spin cycle instead of a project that was like entirely made of spin cycle. So that was really kind of a slog to get through, just because it is sport weight and I was doing it long sleeve and my size, and so I felt like I was working on it for forever. But it's done and it's up at the shop and it's looking really good. So yeah, so that all 4 of those were part of the whips that I talked about when I did this 6 months ago. So all 4 of those, I logged onto Ravelry and have switched from whip to finished object. And I feel really good about that. So if you're keeping track, we started with 13, we finished 4, so we are at the lovely number of 9. So I'd stopped using Ravelry for a while because I was upset with their accessibility issues after their recent update. I think a lot of podcasters were kind of like distancing themselves, but as a personal place to document my projects, it has been very helpful, and beginning to use it again has made me feel much more organized and on top of like my whips. So as I went through all of my whips when I did that video in February, I took a photo of it, posted it on Ravelry. Some of them I ended up frogging, but I still posted them there, so I had a record of them. And so as I was preparing for this video, I found it very, very helpful to go onto Ravelry and to be able to kind of just like situate myself with what I had frogged, what I still had on the needles, and all of that. So as I go through, if there's a status change in any of the projects, I'm going to be updating that on Ravelry, and I will post a link down below if you want to take a look at all my projects. In the midst of the 6 months that have passed, one of the very big projects that I worked on was my D20 sweater. I've talked about it a lot here. It was my D20 knit along project, and I'm so happy with how that turned out, but I found that that ate away into a lot of my knitting time, which was fine. It was a big project. I was posting daily reels and TikToks about it, and so I made a lot of progress really fast, but it also took up a lot of time. So I'm sort of like just including that to remind myself that I did knit an entire sweater during this time period, because sometimes it feels a little bit like I'm like, what was I doing? But I did that, and that's significant, and I'm proud of myself for finishing that off, and I'm excited to wear it come fall. So that never made it onto the Ravelry, but I will put it on there now. So next, I wanted to give an update and update the Ravelry posts with the whips that I talked about that I have actually made progress on. The first one is another pair of socks for someone else that's also part of a trade. So my lovely friend Zoe runs the cross-stitch company Junebug and Darlin. And so she posted basically a quintessential Mackenzie design. And I was like, can you make me one? And if you do, can I trade you a pair of socks for it? And luckily she values hand knit socks and was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So I've been working on those socks. I'm almost done with the first one, and she actually just gifted me the cross stitch that she made for me, which is this amazing little horseshoe. Hope that's focused. Yeah, there we go. It's so sweet. You can get kits to make your own from her website, Junebug and Darlin. The only difference in the one she's made for me is that this hot pink is not in the original. It's more of like a burgundy. So she made this one specially for me, and I love it so much, and it works so well on my wall. It's up here above a print I have of Orville Peck. So I now have to make good on our trade and finish up her socks. But like I said, we're making progress on them, and I've turned the heel on the first one. So this is what the sock is looking like. But I did 2x2 rib for the cuff, and then on the body of the sock, I'm doing 2x2 rib just on the front, and the back is stockinette. I did a slip stitch heel, and I just finished the gusset decreases, so now I'm on to the foot. So at this point, the sock usually goes pretty fast, and I think what I have to do is turn it into my knit night project for a few weeks. But now that we're done moving, I have been knitting more, so I have faith that this will get done sooner rather than later. So the next project that has been on my needles for a while, that I have made a little bit of progress on, but not as much as I would like, is my Advent crochet blanket. So yeah, I really just I don't have, in the grand scheme of things, there's not much left to crochet on this. There are, so I'm in the middle of one, and there are 6 additional colors to do after this one. So it's just the rows take a long time, and I just don't always feel like working on it. But it's very close to being done. And I also have been considering turning this into a housewarming gift for my mom. I'm on the fence about it still. I haven't decided, but that would give me a deadline because she's actually moving to Portland within, the timeline is not specific, but within the next little while. So yeah, I've been thinking about that, and I'm very close, but far enough away that it's not I don't think I could whip it out in a weekend. So yeah, anyway, that's where that is. The other crochet blanket that I've been working on, I thought I was done with, and then realized that to make it as luscious as I was hoping it would be, I need about 7 more granny squares. And the granny squares that I've been making are really big. They're 19 rounds. So I did one of these that I finished on a live stream, and then I've got the rest of the blanket, which is so beautiful and I'm so excited about, and my sister is already in love with. But yeah, I just need it to be that much bigger so that it's that much cozier. So I'm hoping to get this done by Christmas, which we're just getting closer and closer to, you know? But if you didn't know, I host live streams. There was a little bit of a hiatus while I was moving, but we're back at it. So most of the time they're on Tuesdays. Occasionally I have scheduling conflicts and they end up on Thursdays. But I'm actually working on that blanket and the granny squares during the live streams, and you can send me a coffee via Ko-Fi, and then you get to choose the next color that I use. So that's been really, really fun. And if you are interested, subscribe down below, hit the notification bell, and it'll give you all the updates on when those are happening. But yeah, so I've been working on that. Again, these all have deadlines, but they're loosey-goosey deadlines, but I'd like to finish them, right? So where are we at now? I did also have a pair of self-striping socks that I was working on for myself that I shared in that whip video, but I ended up frogging them. The colors just weren't doing it for me. I had knit it in 2x2 rib for a long time, and I wasn't stoked with the circumference of it. It looked very small, and I was just not feeling it, not feeling the socks, so I ended up frogging those. And I've decided that a couple of projects that I had talked about at that point, I am also going to frog. So let's dive into the frog pond. The first one is this hand-spun Musselburgh, which I thought Kay would be interested in working on. It's been on the needles, but neither of us have touched it, and I just don't want to force it. I love this hand spun that I did. It's a beautiful marl, and it is cool to have you know, cast on a little bit to see how the fabric is gonna knit up, but I'm very happy saving this for another project. So off the needles it comes, and into the stash the hand spun goes. That sounded like a weird rhyme. But yeah, I feel really good about this decision. And I get these needles back into my Licca interchangeable set, which is also a good thing. And these are my size 6, so those are definitely frequently used yarns. Oh, also look at this ball. Yikes. Okay. The next project that I also decided I'm going to frog was one that a lot of you were like, just frog it, when I did the first whip inventory. And honestly, I should have listened to you, okay? We all make mistakes, all right? But it is this Demi Loon top by Sachiko Bergman. And it's like, I want to like it. I don't know why. I haven't wanted to touch it, and I just don't want to force it. So this one is also going to the frog pond, and I get one of my favorite project bags back. So these are all good things. We're moving forward. So the next 4 I'm not going to stay on for too long because I haven't made any progress on them, but I also do not want to frog. So the first one is the Shine Mitten. Again, I have one done. I need to knit the other one. It will happen. It's just not time yet, okay? So that's one. We've also got the Snowdrift shawl from Knits About Winter that I'm not sure. This one might just be frogged, but I'm not ready to give up on it yet, and my interest in knitting it. I think come fall, it might entice me. I definitely would like to knit a shawl over the winter, so I just have to kind of wait for that to appeal to me again. We'll see. I've also got my 2 sweaters that I've been working on that I'm making my own pattern for. One is this triangle colorwork sweater, and the other one is a sweater that I am going to write Sinvergüenza across the front of. I haven't touched either of those in a really long time because of the D20 sweater and then the Grouse Creek sweater. I think this is one of the reflections that I am having, is that when I set a project for myself, whether it's for my business or as a sample for the store that I work at, it just eats into so much of my personal knitting time. So I really want to be mindful about the things, the garments in particular, that I want to make and how that's going to impact the time that I have to do the making. So yeah, I am excited to pick up the colorwork sweater again, but of course the allure of new cast-ons is also very strong. And that's where we're going next. Let me show you the new things, and let's start adding up all the whips that are currently on my needles. So right now we are at 7 projects. I do not think that we're gonna get back up to 13, but we're definitely going higher than 7. So, okay, let's start small and get big with the new cast-ons. So one is this hat. So the first one is this hat, which is also from Knits About Winter. Now, the reason I cast this hat on is because I went to knit night without a project. Now, I don't know if you will remember this or have cared to remember this, but the reason that I knit the pick and mix for my niece, Natalie, was because I showed up to knit night without my knitting. And the fact that I've even done that twice is like kind of incredible. I'm not someone who forgets things very often, so the fact that I was just so discombobulated that I forgot my knitting twice, going anywhere but especially going to knit night, is like bonkers. So I was like, well, I've been wanting to knit this hat, I'm going to cast it on. And Tim actually lent me his pink Licca needles, so it's like a very cute little project on the pink needles. And then I promptly forgot about it. I knit basically this entire amount at that one knit night, so it wouldn't take me long to finish, and I think that's probably what I need to just do first and foremost, is finish this dang hat so I can give Tim his needles back. He probably forgot that I even have them. And just get it off my needles and count it down. But so this is whip number 8, and I will add it into Ravelry. The next whip is in my amazing pastel horror villain monsters bag, and it is this granny square cardigan, which I was very gung-ho about and then kind of dropped the ball on. But basically you make this like granny square that has 6 points, and when it folds, it is the sleeve and body of a little cardigan. So I started off on that pretty strong and then haven't really touched it. So, and I've got some amazing yarn in there, so I really need to like work on that, but it's just another whip for now. If you watched my last video, which was about my fall knitting plans, you will be familiar with this vest. And oh, I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about how it's coming out. But this is the beginnings of the Fest Vest by Amba O'Brien in just like possibly the best colors ever. I'm using Wololo in Dream State by Spin Cycle, and I am using as the main color Explorer Knits Rocky's DK in the color Pollen. It's just like the most beautiful mustardy color. I don't remember who it was, but I posted when I was moving out of Boston, I had done a big de-stash and I sold a bunch of yarn, and I was pretty like set on actually selling the yarn, but someone messaged me and was like, hey, would you be interested in a trade for that? And I was like, I don't know, it has to be really good, but send me a picture and I'll take a look at it. And it was like 5 skeins of that color, and I was like, sold, great. So I don't even remember what I traded for or who it was, but they traded me that color, and it's just been sitting there waiting for the perfect project, and this really feels like the perfect project. And wouldn't you know it, that is all of the projects that I have. I kind of can't believe it. But there we are. I'm very, very excited to be down from 13 at least. There's probably one hidden around somewhere, but it feels good to frog some projects. It feels good to just see that the number has gone down, and I think it will go down even further, because what I'm going to focus on is finishing this little hat so that I can give Tim his needles back that he probably doesn't remember I have. And then I can work on my granny squares during the live stream. Maybe the next knit and chat I will work on that crochet blanket, but I don't know, I'm not feeling as overwhelmed as I was at the end of the last whip inventory, which feels really good. I hope this was fun for you to hang out with me while I went through all my stuff. I did want to mention that this month's Sticker Club sticker has about 4 spots still open. And this is the adorable sticker that I designed. It's a little knitting cubie. I'm so happy with it. I just think it's absolutely adorable. So if you would like to get your hands on a sticker, you can sign up for the Emtothethird Sticker Club down below, and you'll get a little note and a sticker from me every month. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go update my Ravelry, and I'll see you next time. Bye!